Using long division, find the simplified expression for h sub z. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write this out. Let me go to black. We're going to write this out. So the top, or the numerator, goes on the inside. So I'm going to have 3z to the negative 6. Now, personally, I like to use all of them. So you'll see what you mean. You will see what I mean. So plus 0z to the negative 5 minus 2z to the negative 4 plus 0z to the negative 3. We're going to continue this that way. Plus 3z to the negative 2 plus 0z to the negative 1 plus 30. And it'll make sense later as to why I do this, but it just cleans up things nicely so we don't miss things. So the next thing we do is we have z to the negative 3 minus 2z to the negative 2 minus, is that 1z? So I'm just going to put z to the negative 1 and then plus 2. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to make z to the power of negative 3 equal to whatever value is here. So to do that, I need to multiply the whole thing by 3z to the negative 3. So I'm going to get 3z to the negative 6. Then I'm going to get minus 6z to the negative 5 minus 3z to the negative 4 plus 6z to the negative 3. Now I'm just going to subtract all of this down. So this goes away. The first term should always go away. So because of that, this turns into a positive, this turns into a positive, and this turns into a negative. I just have to do that so I don't mess things up. So I'm going to get 6z to the power of negative 5 plus z to the negative 4 minus 6z to the negative 3 plus 3z to the negative 2 plus 0z to the negative 1 plus 30. Now I need to do the same thing for the next one. So I'm going to get plus 6z to the negative 2. So I'm going to get 6z to the negative 5 minus 12z to the negative 4 minus 6z to the negative 3. And then I get, plus 12z to the negative 2. Now remember, I am going to subtract. So this turns into a positive, this turns into a positive, and this turns into a negative. It's going to be like that. This should always go away. I need a little more room. So I'm going to get 13z to the negative 4. This goes away. These two values go away, but I'm still going to write plus 0z to the negative 3 minus 9z to the negative 2 plus z to the negative 1 plus 30. Do the same thing next. What do I need to multiply to get 13z to the negative 4? So I need to multiply by 13z to the negative 1. Now I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to get 13z to the negative 4 minus 26z to the negative 3 minus 13z to the negative 2 plus 26z to the negative 1. Now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to subtract. So this goes away. This turns into a positive. This turns into a positive. This turns into a negative. So I'm going to get 26z to the negative 3 plus 4z to the negative 2 minus 26z to the negative 1 plus 30. Now I need to multiply this one by 26 to match. So plus 26. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to get 26z to the power of negative 3. Then I'm going to get, 26 times 2 is 52. So negative 52z to the negative 2. And then 26 times negative 1, negative 26z to the negative 1. And then 26 times 2 is 52 plus 52. Remember, now I'm subtracting. So this goes away. This turns into a positive. This turns into a positive. That turns into a negative. So I'm going to get 56z to the negative 2. That goes away. And I'm not going to need it anymore, so I'm not going to write this one down. Minus, and that should be 22. Now, notice, I really can't multiply anything by this to get this value here. So I'm going to leave this alone. So I'm just going to write this as plus, and I'm going to take this value here, and I'm going to write up top 56z to the negative 2, and then it should be minus 22. Minus 22, all divided by this whole thing here. Z to the negative 3, minus 2z to the negative 2, minus z to the negative 1, plus 2. And then this here is your final answer. So you see, all I did was every single time I made this down here match what's under by multiplying it in to each one here, almost like foiling. And then if I mess up on the algebra, let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to go through and fix it. These equations could get long and kind of messy. Just double check your answers, but this is the general form of how you complete these problems. If you have any questions, please let me know.